I didn't really like it when YouTube kicked us off for doing a video about how white people cause black criminality in New York City. So said the Atlantic magazine. I didn't like it, but I didn't really think it was the end of the world. I know all of you guys out there on YouTube, you know what the drill is. You know we're at risk of being kicked off. I know you think this stuff's important to you, so you're just going to keep following us around wherever we end up, even if that means me outside of my house in Wilmington, Delaware, carrying a little sandwich board saying, "Black criminality and denial are wildly out of proportion." But here's what I didn't like on this last little bit of argy-bargy I had with YouTube. One story fell through the cracks. And the story was about a guy in Fells Point in Baltimore. I got a call from one of his friends, one of our more loyal viewers. He said his friend was just killed. And he had been talking to his friend for the last several months about moving out of Baltimore. He was trying to convince his friend, who is now dead, to do the same thing that he did. Get the hell out of Baltimore because it's just not a safe place for white people. White people are targets there. That's exactly what his friend did. That's exactly what a couple of his friends did, but this dead guy just did not want to do it. He thought he could work in Fells Point, thought it was a safe place, thought he was a little, I think this is true. Maybe he thought he was down with the cause and the cause was down with him and it was all good in Baltimore for him. Maybe not for other people, but it wasn't going to happen to him. Well, it happened. Let's take a look at that story. And then let's take a look at another story, how it almost happened.
Valley grows in Baltimore. It appears teens may have been behind one of the latest homicides.
We had a deadly shooting last night right outside a Fells Point business in what appears to be an attempted robbery gone wrong. ABC 2 News' Jeff Hager has more on the murder. Jeff?
Well, Jamie, to those who didn't know him, Jim Forrester certainly would have appeared to be an imposing figure. And it looks like the gunman made a split-second decision to shoot him after confronting him on the sidewalk just outside his work. Less than 24 hours after the shooting, police detectives combed the 1500 block of Eastern Avenue here in Fells Point, searching for clues to 43-year-old Jim Forrester's killers. His boss and the owner of the Baltimore Tattoo Museum says Forrester, who was a body piercer at the business, had stepped outside to call his wife when his conversation was interrupted.
She heard him say, "Get away from me, get away from me," and then he wasn't in contact with her anymore. She heard the phone drop.
Forrester's wife called the tattoo shop and asked his coworkers to go outside to check on him when they found him lying on the ground. Initially, paramedics believed he had been assaulted, but an autopsy later turned up evidence that he had been shot with a small caliber handgun.
Apparently, there's video of some youths running back up to Perkins after the fact, and gunshot wound to the chest.
At this point, police have not identified any suspects. But in light of the recent violence generated by youths in popular neighborhoods near the Inner Harbor, Detective Donnie Moses had this to say.
It's been a problem if this true, if the suspects are in fact kids. We've talked about it all year, and unfortunately, this crazy pattern is continuing on. They're not kids. Kids are in school. Kids are preparing for Christmas holiday. These are killers, and we need them off the streets, and they need to sit in jail for a long time.
It is a point not lost upon the owner of TK Cycles, who had just left his business across the street an hour before the shooting.
Because I have a business and a wife to protect, of course, when I come out, I have that awareness and I check my surroundings, but I never felt like it was a deep threat, not in this area.
In addition to his wife, Forrester also leaves behind 2 stepchildren. And along with his body piercing, he made quite a name for himself as the bass player for 2 Baltimore hard rock bands, the Serpents of Secrecy and Foghound.
We got a band together. I'm not sure about what to do down here, but I need my friends.
Well, by the way, I didn't just get one email on that. Oh, here's the video of the fellas they suspect of killing this guy. Didn't just get one email. This guy is popular in Europe. So we got emails from Europe as well. going, hey, that guy in Baltimore, I think I saw him in our band. This particular kind of, whatever kind of music you want to call what he was doing, very popular in Europe, not that popular here. And so they've got a lot of fans in Europe that are going to miss that guy very much. They're still wondering, how did this happen? Because in Europe, the media there is kind of like the media here, except on steroids, which is they're very much down with the cause that black people in America are relentless victims of relentless white racism all the time, everywhere. That explains everything. That's kind of their thing about why they are superior to America. They like that. If you ever go over there, you watch TV, it's kind of astonishing to see how casual and widespread that point of view is. That's why so many Europeans get in trouble here. They come to here, they come to New Orleans, they go to Miami, they walk around the ghettos. Next thing you know, they're dead or robbed or both. And the folks back home wondering what happened. That's not supposed to happen there to Europeans, is it? This next story is not Baltimore City, it's Baltimore County, outside of Baltimore. But as an extra bonus, just for sticking with us on this so far, we're going to give you one absolutely positively ridiculous explanation for why this old dude why 6 fellas in a SUV screeched up to an old dude in a car, pulled him out, beat him, ran the car. Oh, well, why am I giving away the story? Let's just watch it. It's just another day in Baltimore.
His car stolen and then used to run him over. And now Baltimore County Police are looking for 2 teenagers tied to this Nottingham carjacking that almost killed a 69-year-old man. ABC 2 News' Skylar Henry is live just off of Bel Air Road tonight after speaking with the victim's wife. First off, Skylar, how's he doing?
Yeah, Jamie, understandably shaken up after all of this. I mean, it's pretty dramatic watching your husband get hit by this car, as a matter of fact. This car was actually returned to her on Saturday from police after they recovered it. Apparently, the teens involved in this also stole 2 other vehicles. Now police are looking for 2 more teens after arresting 4 earlier.
It's not supposed to happen here. Not to them. The friendly couple that paced the pavement on Cardwell Avenue with their dog Teddy Bear every day.
I just don't understand the reasoning. I mean, my husband complied. Why would you just want to beat the poor man half to death? And they even said, the detective said he's lucky to be alive.
Barbara Willingham spoke to us under conditions we wouldn't show her face. She's lived on the block for more than 30 years, and until Wednesday, never thought she'd be staring violence in the face when her husband Jim was attacked.
He got something out of the trunk of his car, got to sit in the driver's seat just to warm the car up because it was really extremely cold outside. And he reached for the door to close it, and that fast these guys come up in an SUV, come flying down the road.
Baltimore County Police say these 3 teens, along with 3 others, hopped out of the SUV, knocked Jim down, stole this Buick, and used it to run Jim over. The injuries almost killing him.
Once a juvenile crime becomes more serious, more aggressive, and violent as it is in this case, then those types of crime need to have serious consequences, or we're just releasing violent offenders back on the street regardless of their age.
Violent offenders that perhaps wouldn't have been caught if not for a quick-thinking cable guy across the street who got the carjacking on video. A quick tip for police to catch 4 of the teens. Now, it's still unsettling for Barbara, who's now focused on making sure she can get Jim walking again.
We would walk Teddy Bear up and down the street, and we've never had anything happen like this before.
Now, Barbara says Jim will need months of rehab in order to learn how to walk again. He's actually in the hospital right now with Jim as we speak. Now, as for those teens, 3 of them have been charged as adults. One of the drivers actually being charged with attempted murder. Still, police, as we mentioned, are looking for 2 more teens. If you can help them in any way, you're asked to give them a call.
Now, over at my Twitter page, I forget what you call it, Twitter, my Twitter channel, my Twitter stream, over at Twitter, we get a lot of trolls that come in and out. Our latest enthusiastic troll who's going to educate us all, his name is Don322, and Don has been telling me all day long, Colin, why is this so hard to explain? Because all this black criminality has nothing to do with race. It's drugs, it's robbery, it's theft. They're all economic based. How hard is that to grasp? I'm not making excuses. I'm making a point, Colin. Why can't I figure out these are all economically based crimes? Despite the fact that first guy, the dead white guy, they didn't get anything from him. What about the 69-year-old guy in Baltimore? I mean, it's like his wife was following the script. The reporter was following a script that we write, which is, nothing bad ever happens around here before. Now, you know what that really means, by the way? That means you don't know your neighbors. When people have kids, and there's tons and tons of kids in a neighborhood, everybody the kids are the ones that are like the conduit of information. You could figure out what's happening like 10 blocks away because, hey, did you hear Mr. Smith was at the inn last night and staggered out of there at midnight? Well, everybody knows. Ditto for crime. Well, that's not happening anymore because everybody's cocooning. All the kids have moved away. People really don't know their neighbors in that hood anymore. So that could have been going on 24/7. They wouldn't have had any idea, except they've constructed this little fantasy world where they're safe from all this chaos and violence that is now part of the DNA of Baltimore. And no, I do not make any damn distinction between Baltimore City and Baltimore County. Not one. As long as the fellas have SUVs and they cruise around white neighborhoods looking for old white people to beat up, they don't make a distinction. I'm not going to make a distinction, even if that makes the black kids angry.